let's talk about how a country changes and actually becomes better. How do we have these moments where all of a sudden everything changes and people have a better nation? What is it that's going on? Is it there's a new invention? Is it all of a sudden everyone hits some type of new resource that makes them very wealthy? Or is it there's a big revolution and the people take back their power or whatever? What is going on? And I'm sure right now a lot of you might be wondering when or if this is even going to happen for you in your lifetime, etc. Well, to start off very from the beginning, all right, we have in history a lot of different countries that get into real shitty times. Things get rough. You have, the poor get poorer. You have the rich, they get richer. Or there's a big disease that goes around, maybe the Black Plague, a giant war, something like that. People aren't satisfied with what's going on. And everyone kind of assumes it's this moment where people just get so fed up or, things get so bad. Either they find a new solution or they end up revolting. It's one of the two. I am going to come at this from a little bit of a different angle, and it has to do with a spiritual movement. That's really what it comes down to. And what does that mean? Some of you are like, oh boy, here we go. We're about to get preached at. That's not what I'm about to talk about. I'm going to break this down in a very mechanical way where it will be very obvious to you how it makes the most sense. Okay, first, what is a country? What is a nation? Is it a piece of land? Is it an area people exist in? No, it is a group of people. You pick them all up, you can move them to another planet. It's the same thing. It's that nation, okay? So, when we have these groups of humans, they all work in systems. They all work in individual tasks. They have division of labor. They do their own thing, and they do it together in a synchronized system that ends up, hopefully, benefiting everybody. Now, with those systems, there's always some form of governance. It doesn't matter what it is, democracy, communism, dictatorship, feudal, whatever. It can be anything. But that is the part of that system that governs how the overall structure works. Okay? Now, that all being said, that system may not always be governed the best it could be for the environment that it is in at that time. Okay? Or it just sucks. Or it could be really good. Whatever. Now, how is that form of governance enforced? Right? Well, it requires, to a degree, voluntary, willing participation. At the end of the day, it is always about what people will go along with and or put up with. Anytime there's ever been a super negative thing that's happened in history, let's say, you have the Cultural Revolution, you have the, what was it? There's some basic ones. You could talk about the Holocaust. You could talk about really any number of those. It was always the people let it happen. Now, I know you might want to argue with that, and you might want to say something to the effect of like, well, how did they let it happen when a military literally forced them with weapons to do whatever it is that they said? Here's the thing. The militaries are a part of the population. The militaries are civilians with fancy clothes on, and they're all just getting herded around. Not only that, typically, the military is never larger than the total population of civilians. The whole idea of, a military, you can't have a whole country be a military. And in that case, then who are they going to, enforce their system on anyway? Okay, they They basically choose what they put up with. So, why is it that these countries, these populations, allow their governments to screw them over? Right? Well, a lot of it has to do with fear. Okay? It has to do with people wallowing, people thinking that this is the best it could be. And also, it's everyone is thinking about just themselves. That's really what it comes down to. People are being very selfish. They are only thinking about me, 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 and my survival and my well being. And they're thinking short term. They're thinking about their life as far as what's going to happen to them today, tomorrow, and maybe the next 20, 30 years, maybe. And they're barely thinking about their children. They're not even thinking about if there's an afterlife. They're thinking about how do I just get by for now. And because of this, people don't hold themselves to any type of standard. You have the Japanese, they lived by an honor system. They had a very strict code on what was allowed and not allowed based off of what was honorable or shameful. They had Bushido, the way of the warrior. You could have the Vikings. They had Valhalla. They had what Odin told them, and Loki and all the gods, etc. And their big thing was also similar. It had a lot to do with honor, but also going to Valhalla. And they had their own rules and regulations. But then you go on and on and on. These people stood for something. They had a backbone. And they were the ones who then actually took interest in their own governments. The Romans, for example, they lived by virtue. They had, they had the Roman gods, but many Romans, they really had a code of honor. They believed in, a lot of them were very stoic. They had these ideas. And then obviously Christianity has been a very big one for the last 1,000 years. So what I'm trying to get across here, humans, if they don't have something to hold on to, a religion, a code of conduct, whatever, right? They only think individually. They don't think about the group. They don't think about their future. They don't think about what's going to happen to them eternally. And when they're in that state of mind, they will let anything happen. And they also won't work together. They won't sacrifice. None of that. Sacrifice is a requirement for civilization. Now, you might not like that. You might want to say, well, that's not fair. And that's going to be at the expense of some people. And one of those people might be me. But there's no other way around it. And that's why we have things like, Independence Day, Memorial Day, Veterans Day, all of these things, because those sacrifices that were made are why we're here. So, kind of circling back around, the whole premise of how do you have social, cultural change, all these things, right? You must have a nation or a good chunk of it that all share a strong set of cultural and or religious values. And when you all are playing off the same sheet of music, you can move mountains. And not only that, you can enforce standards. You can require something of politicians or government officials to actually do something that is in your country's nation. Now, that doesn't mean that your goals as a group of humans will necessarily be perfect. But I'll tell you what, a group of humans working together succinctly, as long as they have a plan, will outperform any other group of humans who have no plan and no cooperation. So, what I'm getting across here is, in America right now, we have no real shared set of cultural values. Okay? Christianity is not really a dominant force. The virtue that the founding fathers really admired, Benjamin Franklin had his that he tried to practice every day. They pledged their life, liberty, and wealth all to their sacred honor when they signed the Declaration of Independence, etc. They had these ideas that were bigger than themselves. We have no ideas that are bigger than ourselves as a country now. And without them, we will collapse, we will fail, we will not continue to exist. Now, historically, the number one way a country had its big change moment, its big shift, it's when the consciousness all came together and ended up actually enacting a change, was there was a spiritual movement. There was some type of, whether it be charismatic leader who was usually religious, a prophet, somebody would go out and begin talking to the masses, and he would convince them, he would show them, he would demonstrate miracles to them in whatever way, to then get them to all believe the same thing. And once they all believed the same thing, they could all work in unison. They could have common goals. They would be united. What's the old saying? How do you defeat a nation or your own population? It's through divide and conquer. It's so obvious. All you have to do is have a unified nation, and you damn nearly will never fail. You will never lose, right? Especially the United States, for example, 350-ish, 60 million people. If we were all united, there's nothing we couldn't do. Now, that all being said, who is this spiritual leader? Who is the man, woman, group of people, whoever, who are going to unite people in the United States? So funny. Unite the people of the United States. Talk about, that's ironically funny that we're not united on one set of cultural values. I mean, we have a loose set of cultural values, but it's falling apart. It's the threads tying us together. There's not really one thing. The colleges are really making everybody very scattered. They do take very atheistic positions. Now, I'm not saying everyone in the United States has to be a Christian, but look, here's the real, we have pretty much been a Christian nation since our inception. It's woven into the fabric of this country. It is our roots. The vast majority of people in the United States, their lineage goes back to Germany, the UK, northern countries. I mean, we are historically very Christian. It's in our DNA. Now, I'm not making any claims, but I'm just saying it's going to be hard to find something else to replace Christianity to unite us with in order to be able to get all on the same sheet of music, to be able to actually have any effective change, right? And at the end of the day, when it comes to these moments where the change starts to get instituted, it's not going to come easy. There are people who will have to commit themselves to it no matter what, no matter the cost. And it's those people that also inspire everyone else to see that how worthwhile these things are. So it's a tricky one, because at this time we almost need an update. Our religious, philosophical kind of core tenets as a country need to catch up to a couple things that have happened in history, and we need either a new interpretation of those structures in order to make them fit with the technologies and the size of the population and the way that the world operates now, being a global network of humans. And it's going to take people who have massive insight, who have taken the time to deeply understand religion and philosophy, to make very convincing, compelling arguments that don't just sound good, but have structural integrity. And those people, they can't just be a bookworm. They can't just be somebody who sits in a library or somebody who has been in academia their whole life. They're going to have to be somebody who is both very well studied and very well at presenting in order to actually make these things happen. Because in the past, most religions, those people, they performed what were called miracles. And those miracles were proof, divine proof, that these individuals were, well, sent by God and that what they were saying is true. I've never seen a literal miracle. I can't say I have the ability to perform one. And I don't know anyone who does. So it's going to come down to, this is going to be a popularity contest. This is going to be people who are very, very charismatic, who know how to move people and can articulate what the new vision should be very clearly. And they're going to have to know how to use social media or be around people who use social media. And they're going to have to be able to communicate to people in this time that they're in now with their jargon, with their mannerisms, and from their perspective, not from an older cultural perspective, not even from 1 or 2 generations ago perspective, but talk to them with respect and from the perspective that they have. Is not going to work to just try to resell the same spiels that were for the boomer generation, the, great generation, etc. It's going to have to be something else. And it's going to have to be with the identity of people now. So that's something I'm here in my hotel in Nashville, and it's something that I've wanted to articulate for a while, but I just felt the urge to record this video real fast to try to get it out there and share it with you all. But that's it for now. Hey, like, comment, subscribe. Give me a comment. Tell me what it is that you think on this perspective. I know what some of you are going to say. Some of you are going to say this is a hopeless cause and you're just going to have to let history play out. Others of you are going to say, I don't know about that. There's going to be a different way that we have to go about this. We're going to have to innovate our way out. To both of you, I have to say, the one who's saying it's a hopeless cause, well, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. Might as well try anyway, right? And the other one who says we have to innovate our way out and we're going to have to try and figure out something technologically or structurally within the government itself. We already have more technology than we've ever had before. Our governments are bigger than they've ever been before. You think more of that is the solution? No. We have to be more deserving of what we have. We have to learn how to take what we already have and use it appropriately and properly. We have to be mature adults. Okay. That's it for today. Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.